This is Komets Corner.
A brouhaha, you like to call it a tilly.
Little Tilly.
A little tilly,
yeah.
But a throwdown, fisticuffs, if you will. Anthony Petrozelli and the youngster Thomas Sinclair getting involved in this. Obviously, a little, not too much love lost between the Komets and Cincinnati. This was this past Friday night, kind of didn't spill over too much to Saturday, but it was kind of a nasty one out there.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about how Sinclair kind of brings a little bit of toughness to this team.
Yeah, I know he's a tough kid. He's a good sized kid. He's really good on face-offs, and he was really aggressive. I mean, he was getting under guys' skin. I mean, he went after Ken Appleby a couple times, making him very uncomfortable. So you love that aggressiveness coming out of a kid coming out of college.
All right, he's Shane Albahrani. I'm Glenn Marini. It's Komets Corner, brought to you by Lee's Famous Recipe. And Shane, before we get into the highlights of the couple games, we got a couple of interviews to get to. I want to ask about some transactions that have already taken place here Monday morning, Monday afternoon. William Dufour headed back to the Komets after his time in Grand Rapids, and Josh Bloom, who actually we're going to hear from in a little while, headed up to Bakersfield. Where do those moves sit with the Komets, and what does that mean for the case going forward as you enter the home stretch, if you will, of this season in the regular season?
Yeah, William Dufour, you know what, he's a A-plus player, so offensive threat, so great to get him back. Josh Bloom is still finding his way around Fort Wayne. He's only played a few games since being traded from Vancouver to Edmonton. Kind of a one-for-one swap there. Edmonton has got a lot of injuries right now, so that's a trickle-up effect. So Josh Bloom goes up to Bakersfield. And plus, since Edmonton traded for him, well, I'm sure Bakersfield would like to have a look at him. So, he's going to go up and obviously get some playing time. But William Dufour, yeah, I mean, he's a guy who's going to be an X factor here going into the stretch.
Okay, so we talk about this home stretch. 12 games left in the regular season, 10 of them at home. Is that a good thing? That's my question.
Yeah, no, I think it is. The guys have played better as of late at home, and they know how important it is, to finish the season strong. And I know we've struggled at home, but we've got no choice but to turn it around now because you have so many games at home. And, we made a couple of good deadline trades as well, so those guys will be worked into the lineup next week. So right now, the Komets' magic number is 6 points. So you're pretty secure in making the playoffs. So right now you can use these last 12 games to kind of figure out, what the best line combinations are going to be, going into the playoffs. All
right, so let's take a look at some of the highlights from Friday's game. 2 games in Cincinnati, Friday and Saturday, both of them coming out victorious in a Komets. In the Komets' favor. So let's talk a little bit about heading into the weekend. You had 2 games at Cincinnati. You guys left on Thursday. Stayed overnight on Thursday. Played the game Friday. Stayed overnight. So this was a full
weekend.
72, however many hours in Cincinnati. But it got off to a little bit of a tough start in that first period. I mean, Komets generally, it feels like score first all the time. That was not the case in Cincinnati, so it was nice to see the bounce back effect.
Yeah, I know it's good. This team is different when they have the lead, but it's good that they were able to come from behind this night. And this one was maybe a little controversial call. They had to review it. They were looking at goaltender interference, but you could see that the puck was actually past Janssen before the contact. So, and then the next goal was just a really, really bad line change on a penalty kill where we just did not know what we were doing. So Cincinnati went up early 2-0, but then after that, we settled on in. You just take it one goal at a time. You tie the game up late, and you go to overtime, which has not been good to us. And now we're starting to get a little better at this. So you got the game winner by Harrison Reese, and it's a guy who doesn't score a lot. It's a defenseman, so it was good to see him get a goal there and get the Komets a win.
This was a weird game because you take a look at the 5 goals counting overtime. There was only one of the 5 goals that was 5-on-5 hockey. So this was just kind of one of those games that it really could have gone either way in terms of the fact that there wasn't a lot of traditional 5-on-5 hockey played in this one.
Yeah, you take advantage of those opportunities, and the Komets did. They were lucky to get some power plays there, and Cincinnati, 30th in the league on the penalty kill, so that helped us out a little bit. Specialty teams, is important. But again, I don't put the premium on that when we get into the playoffs because your power play chances will go down. So 5-on-5 play is what you're really looking at, and I love the way we play 5-on-5. So you get penalties, you're gonna have to kill them off. So, but we did everything right there in the second half of that game on Friday.
We saw Drew Krebs right here get a little, another little Tilly, if you will. How nice is it to see kind of him sticking up for some of his teammates? Because there were some, as you mentioned, the shot on Janssen was, I don't want to say dirty, but like if you're a Komets fan, you didn't love to see it.
Yeah, again, it happens. He got clipped there. It did get chippy because every game right now for the Komets, they're playing against a team that is trying to get into the playoffs, with the exception of you got 2 games with Iowa coming up. So every game we are playing, pretty much against Bloomington and Indy, and these are and then Toledo. I mean, these are all playoff games. So we have to treat them as such. So Cincinnati, they desperately needed the points. They came into that night, Friday night, in the 4th spot, and they left the weekend out of the playoffs. So every inch matters.
Kirill Tutayev with a goal to tie things up there in the 3rd period, his 17th goal of the season, 2nd power play goal after Alex Eliardi's power play goal. 3 of 8, I believe, on the power play this week. You mentioned Cincinnati struggles there, but it's nice to see, as we talk about the non-linear effect of the power play, to see the Komets get 3 power play goals over 2 games.
Yeah, and Kirill Tutayev, he's really taken over that power play. Everything went through James Stefan. He's out. Then everything went through William Dufour. He's out. Now Kirill Tutayev has stepped up, and he now leads the team in scoring. And he's very quietly, I think, him and Austin McGarrah. I'm glad I don't get to vote for team MVP at the end of the season, because it's going to be a tough call. Austin McGarrah and Kirill Tutayev are going to be top candidates. They're 2 guys who have been very steady. We've got a lot of players who are streaky, but those 2 have been steady since day one.
And that was the next point I was going to make, is that you look at Kirill Tutayev and his total points and 17 goals. If things go well, obviously he'll end up with 20-plus goals, hopefully this season. But he's kind of been that guy. We talk about Alex Eliardi with 22 goals, I believe, now. And then you talk about, obviously, McGarrah. But, Tutayev has secretly, silently been an assassin for this team.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I call James Stefan the silent assassin, because he's the guy who just kind of beats you. He does not. He's very unassuming out there on the ice. But Kirill's a guy that teams got to watch out for. He's such a good stick handler, such a good shot, and he's a lot more physical than he was last year. So he's not afraid to take a hit. He's not afraid to get hit. He's not afraid to get in the corners and get dirty. But he's a guy I'm so glad we have on this team. He impressed us when he was in Toledo, and now I'm glad he's on our side.
Speaking of guys that like to stick their nose in there, I like Matt Capone's game. We've seen it a couple of times this season, Norfolk, I think, too, where he'll be knocked down on the ice, he'll get back up, and he'll make a play for this team. And we had a chance to chat with Matt Capone at practice last week, and here's what the forward had to say. Here at Komets practice with forward Matt Capone. And Matt, you got here kind of in mid-January, and you've kind of had a chance to settle in. What is it about this Komets team that's allowed you to really kind of hit the ground running with this team and play as well as you've had with a relatively new group of guys?
Yeah, I think it's been a great system, great coaching staff, and it's a great organization as well to be a part of. And I'm honored to be here. And they have a great foundation for what it means to be a Komet and how you're supposed to play. And if you follow that the right way, good things will happen for you. And I'm just trying to play the game the right way and doing whatever the staff needs me to do. And they have a good foundation for us set. So if you follow the right way, I think things will go well for you here.
Coming into the weekend, 26 games with the Komets, 23 points. You're a point-a-game guy. So when you take a look at your skill set, what do you try to bring to this team on the ice?
Yeah, I just want to help this team win games any way I can. I think that's what I bring to the table. Whatever the team needs me to do, I can do it for them, whether it's score some goals or, be on the ice at the end of the game, whatever you need me to do, I think I can help the team win. So just trying to give the team, whatever skill set they need from me. I'm just trying to do that in order to help the team win every night.
All right, you played your first 3 years of college at Merrimack and then your final year at Boston. So you got a chance to play in the Beanpot. Yeah. What was that like? I think Komets fans or hockey fans in general are always like, that's one of the holy grails, I think, of hockey, especially when it comes to college.
Oh, it was an honor. It was a really good opportunity for me to experience something that all Boston kids especially want to play in. So that was a big thing for me, and being able to win it was even more special. We had a good celebration after with a great group of guys there we had last year. So just being able to experience that as a Boston kid was a true honor, and something I'm going to remember for a while. So whole city was out, the place was jamming, and I was lucky we got the win there. So that was good.
Now you're from Mansfield, Massachusetts, correct?
Yep.
Where is that relative to Boston?
Down by Gillette Stadium.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm right next to Gillette Stadium where the Patriots play. So right in that area, it's a good suburb, and there's a lot to do around there.
Okay, so you're in Indiana now, but are you still a Tom Brady type guy? Like, are you still a Brady fan?
I mean, of course I'm a Brady fan. I think you have to be a Brady fan for forever for what he did for us and our city. And you know, I luckily I met a professional football player here from Fort Wayne himself, so it was cool to meet a guy here a couple days ago. But no, like, football is obviously big over here, so Tom Brady being who he was kind of helped shape the sports city he did in Boston, so that was a lot of fun.
Now, being from the Boston area, did you seek out at Dunkin' Donuts when you came here in Fort Wayne? Was that priority number one, or do you not care exactly where donuts come from?
No, I'm not a picky guy. I'm not a picky guy. I think Dunkin' Donuts has some pretty good donuts, but I think there's some good options out there as well.
Okay, so in 2023, you get drafted in the 7th round by the Edmonton Oilers. I think every hockey player wants to hear their name called in the NHL draft. What was it like to have that moment with you, with family, with friends, to see your name now associated with an NHL team from now until the end of history?
Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, just being able to hear your name called, obviously on such a special day for your family, and just being able to hear your name called in the NHL draft is something you chase for your whole life. And you know, hopefully one day I'll still be able to get to play in the NHL and chase that dream. And just it was a real honor to be able to get drafted by such a historic organization as well. So it was a real honor.
These games in Cincinnati this weekend notwithstanding, you guys play the bulk of the stretch of the end of the regular season at home. What's it going to take to be successful there and, you know, keep this team rolling as we get ready for the postseason?
Yeah, like you just said, you know, we play a lot of games at home the rest of the year, but, you know, recently here we played a lot of games on the road. The last about month or two here, we've played a lot of games on the road, and just, you know, being able to adjust wherever you are, whatever city you're in, and being able to stick to your systems. And you know, the Komets set a good foundation for us here to stick to our systems and play your way. So just following in our footsteps and playing the right way will get us the W's.
All right. See, you don't even notice the accent too much.
No.
You guys give you heck?
I try to hide it a little bit. It'll come out here and there. But I try to hide it a little bit.
Are there certain words that like you just have to Boston up?
Yeah, for sure. There's a couple there.
Like park the car in the yard or something like that?
I don't know as much as that. Is sometimes it'll just come out, you know, when you're just having random conversations with people, and you'll just have something will come out. But no, I try to hide a little bit as best as I can so I don't get made fun of for it.
Understand. We appreciate it. He's Matt Capone, I'm Glenn Marini, and that is Komets Corner. All right, love the way Matt Capone plays, and a great interview from Massachusetts. He said he's trying to get that Massachusetts accent out of his speech, and you got to go with it, right?
I don't care for it. You know, I have a color commentator who I think he could be there right now, but he's with us, and Drew Krebs has just been awesome. You know, and then Saturday night was interesting. You know, we're playing a goaltender, you know, making his pro debut. So, you know, we get that goal early, and you're kind of thinking, okay, well, this kid, you know, may give up a few more, but you know, he was steady, you know, really to the rest of the way, and we got a couple lucky bounces there late, and able to pull ahead and get the win. But no, it was a very good game. Again, Cincinnati came out. They were going to throw some knockout punches. They needed the points, and it was a great grind-out win for the Komets. And these are the game. Every game going forward here is going to be just like this.
Did you think you were going to face Appleby 2 nights in a row?
You know what?
In Burco, right?
Yeah, this is you know, the way they've kind of worked their goaltending. You know, Ken Appleby is a guy who's got a lot of miles on him. You know, I don't think he was going to go back-to-back. So, no, not surprising there. I don't think he's gone back-to-back a whole lot this year. So, yeah, the fact that we beat Ken Appleby again on Friday was also remarkable too. He's just a game changer. But no, I mean, I thought that the game was well played all the way around. I thought we did everything right. We did the little things. We won face-offs. You know, took care of the puck, and timely goal scoring. So that's what you want.
Yeah, these two, you know, the game-tying goal and the game-winning goal came within 54 seconds of each other. So that's certainly, you know, a nice little spurt, because this game was, as I mentioned, a roller coaster with you guys scoring first, Cincinnati getting 2 in the second, and then you guys putting those 2 goals together back-to-back very quickly in the third.
Yeah, it was take what they give you, and also, tip your cap to Nathan Day and Sam Janssen both nights. They also played very, very well. They faced a lot of shots in those two games as well. So the great road play of these two guys continue. I think Sam Janssen, he's got 17 wins. I think 14 of them are on the road. Crazy. But you don't know what we're going to do come playoff time. It'll be interesting to see what we do goaltending wise, if it's going to stick with the rotation, or is it Sam on the road? Is it Nathan at home? Don't know. I'm really looking forward to see how that plans out.
Yeah, I asked Sam that question a couple of weeks ago. I was like, why are you so good on the road? What's the secret sauce there? And he was like, I honestly can't tell you. But sometimes it's hard to see the forest for the trees if you're in it. From your perspective, what makes him so good on the road?
I don't know. I'm the same with you. I know it's like he's. I don't want to say he's different, because I think he plays just as well at home. But you know what? Goaltending, you also need help from the guys in front of you. So I think it just kind of goes back to, we have been just kind of up and down at home, and it's not so much the goaltending, it's everybody.
Okay, so one of the guys that is certainly interesting to talk about is Matt Murphy. We're so excited when he came here not that long ago. Obviously has a great resume, and one of the cool things that the Komets have done this past year is the Mission Control segment. I mean, that docuseries out on YouTube is really good. If you haven't seen it, go check it out after you watch the show, obviously. But they did a recent vignette on Matt Murphy, and so here's what Matt had to say as they take a look behind the scenes with him as the Komets defenseman.
Now to the blue line. A shot set off, blocked again. Oh, that caught Murphy right in the face, and Murphy is down. Oh, Matt Murphy is going to take off the bucket, and he is going to head to the bench, and this could be an issue with Jalen Schmerich still serving that 10-minute misconduct.
Yeah, I mean, I think my style of play, I would kind of describe myself or define myself as a two-way defenseman. I think I focus our side of the zone, like I defend first kind of thing. I like I'll block shots, I'll kind of do whatever it takes for the team to win. And yeah, I think getting hit in the face of the puck, I mean, I think that just comes with a bit of the territory. It didn't feel good and it hurt, but also the one thing about, for me anyways, like getting hit in the face is, if I can see and I can, my nose isn't broken or whatever, at least it's not like your leg being injured. If you're, you can still play, all your body parts are moving. Being from the east coast of Canada, I mean, I started playing hockey, I don't know, before I could walk almost. My dad grew up, he played hockey, kind of followed in his footsteps, grew up through the minor hockey program through there, and then I was drafted to the QMJHL, 15 years old, and I was drafted to a city named Val-d'Or up northern Quebec. And I went up there and I played for a year and a half, and then I was traded from there to Halifax Mooseheads, and I was traded from there to Quebec City, the Ramparts. And then I finished off my QMJHL career in St. John for the St. John Sea Dogs. And then, I went to multiple NHL camps, but I decided I wanted to go to university to, get my education and whatnot. And also, like I said, my dad had gone to UMB, so I went there for 4 years, and then my first year pro was for the Komets. We won the Kelly Cup that year, which was, obviously an unbelievable experience. And then after that, been in different places, playing pro and whatnot, but then, I guess that brings me back to here. It's difficult to completely replicate the same team, but we definitely have a lot of similarities within the locker room. I think the biggest thing within a championship team, or at least in my experiences with it, is the camaraderie. And obviously you need talent and you need good players, like on the ice, but I think off the ice is just as important. And I think within that locker room, we got a lot of really good guys.
Never a bad time to look at that championship video, is it? Saw some Jackson Leaf in there, some AJ Jenks.
Just makes you want to do it again, that's all.
Maybe we will. Maybe we will in June. Let's take a look at the ECHL standings now, because they take an even more important role at this point in the season. As you mentioned, there are a lot of teams fighting for that 3-4 spot when it comes to the postseason. Really, the only team out of it, as you said, is Iowa. But when you take a look at the Komets, Toledo currently has a game. Is it a game in hand? You have a game in hand?
The Komets have a game in hand now, because they played yesterday. They lost in overtime.
The phrasing is what gets me. I know you have played one less game, but you have a game in hand.
Yes, we have a game in hand, so that's now going to be handy, because we've been playing Toledo's had the games in hand all the way up to this point, so this is the first time we've had the upper hand, if you will, going
there we go
to get that top spot. But in typical Toledo fashion, they pulled one out last night. They were down 3-0. They managed to go to overtime and get a point. So now it's just a one-game lead, but we do have that game in hand. And we're going to play these guys twice in the final week of the regular season at the Coliseum, so the division might come down to those 2 games.
And you take a look at the standings, you've got a couple games against the Indy Fuel this week and a game against the Bloomington Bison. I mean, you're talking about 3 and 4 and teams that not only need to stay in the playoffs, but are, I would imagine, trying to elevate themselves up a little bit as far as like postseason positioning goes.
Yeah, Indy's a team. I think they're pretty comfortable. Obviously not safe, but at least they've got a little bit of breathing room there. But all the teams below them, the Komets are going to play a part in maybe who they play in the first round. If we win out, we get the top seed. It could be Bloomington. If we don't, it could be Fort Wayne Indy, which would be awesome. It's the first time we would have played Indy in the playoffs since 1991, which is hard to believe. So that would be spectacular. But yeah, you know what? We're going to kind of be able to see who we can play.
All right. It should be very interesting. Of course, a big week coming down the stretch. But, we talked a little bit about at the beginning of the show, Josh Bloom. Obviously, he's headed up to Bakersfield as some you said trickle up. Trickle up. Trickle up, trickle down, whatever it is. But trickle up, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I'm going to steal that and use that and say that I came up with it. But we had a chance to talk with Josh Bloom, who's been more than a point-a-game guy when he's been in the ECHL this season with the Kalamazoo Wings. The relatively newly acquired and then shipped out, but coming back pretty soon, hopefully. Josh Bloom, here's what he had to say at practice last week. We're here with one of the newest Komets, Josh Bloom, coming over from Kalamazoo. And Josh, what is it like to be a part of this Komets organization and one that you've seen close up, just kind of on the other side of the glass?
Yeah, no doubt. It's exciting. Obviously a great team here, and looking forward to seeing what we're able to do.
What do you look to bring to this team?
Speed, energy, offensive threat, and reliable in 3 zones. I think playing the full aspect of the game is really important, especially on a good team. So just trying to bring everything I can to this group.
What do you do to try to fit in and kind of make this as seamless as possible? Because obviously at this point in the season, a lot of things are established, so it's kind of a tough time right ahead of the ECHL trade deadline to get added to a new team. How do you make it seamless?
Yeah, you just do things the right way. I think that gains the trust of everybody in the locker room and the coaching staff. So do things the right way, and the rest will take care of itself.
What was your first impression of Coach Kalicki and this Komets roster? What was the first takeaway that you got seeing these guys and being with these guys on the ice in practice?
Yeah, great. Obviously a great group. Coach does a great job in there, high energy, very positive atmosphere. So it's been awesome so far.
You take a look at your numbers. I mean, you're a guy that can put up some points offensively. So when you take a look at fitting in with this Komets team, what's the key to continuing that success, and how have you been able to have that success on the ECHL level throughout the course of your career?
Yeah, like I said, doing things the right way. I think the points and the offensive stuff come if you're doing things the right way and not cheating the game. And I think that's what I'm looking to do here, finishing checks, playing with speed, hard on the forward check, creating turnovers, and getting the puck out of my own end. So.
For this team, down the stretch of the season, you guys are playing most of the games at home. So how do you make sure that you guys come out with the results you want and continue kind of the success that this team has had throughout the course of the year?
Yeah, Coach was talking about it. Owning home ice is an important attribute for a playoff team. And if you can own home ice, then you can win playoff series. So I think it's important for us, and it's a little taste before the real stuff gets going of maintaining home ice and playing a certain way and making it a really tough place for other teams to come.
Tell me about you off the ice. What do people not know about Josh Bloom that they should know?
Not much. I love hockey. I love all sports, to be honest with you. I'm really excited to watch March Madness here. I think this is a great time of year with the Masters coming up and all that. So huge sports fan, big competitor. I love competitive stuff. So any chance I get to do something competitive with my friends, family, that's what I'm trying to do. And yeah, that's a little bit about me.
You said you're from Ontario, correct?
Yeah.
Does March Madness translate to Canada? Like, is it still a big deal up there?
Oh, yeah. That's like asking if the Super Bowl is a big deal. Everybody's watching it. So, yeah, me and my buddies back home and my family all have brackets going, so I'm looking forward to it.
Are you one of those guys that fills out like 20 brackets, or one guy that goes with one and then has to repeat it? Like, are you a one bracket guy? Or are you a million bracket guy?
I was actually watching First Take the other day with Stephen A. Smith, and Mad Dog had a take there that you should only be making one bracket, and I do agree with him. Like, you make your bracket and you stick with it, because otherwise you have every team in every single bracket, and you may have some winners and you may have some losers. So I just make one and I stick with that one.
All right, so who do you think is going to win the championship this year?
I got Michigan.
Michigan, okay. I guess that's a good hockey school, too.
Yeah, it's a good school. They're #1 seed, and I like their logo.
All right, well, we are definitely glad to have you here in the fort. He's Josh Bloom. I'm Glenn Marini, and that is Komets Corner. You said you had, as we were talking off camera, an interesting way to pick the bracket back in the day.
I haven't done one in years, but when I used to do it, I would, whoever would win in a fight between the two teams' mascots. So
how would you generally do in a pool?
I would do pretty well. Actually.
I was going to say.
I certainly did. So you know what? A Wolverine versus a Wildcat.
Ooh, that could be this year.
Yeah.
You know, we could see that at some point this year. Very well said. I always try to pick the upsets. I went to Miami of Ohio and grew up in Muncie Ball State, so I'm like a big mid-majors guy, big MAC
But you could have
guy.
like a Pirate versus a Grizzly. Oh,
I could have a Red Hawk versus anything, and we would probably lose.
Absolutely. And I've been waiting for a college to change their mascot to the Sharknadoes, so they would never lose.
Boom. If Ian Ziering has a college, that would be the one to do it. Let's talk a little bit about the upcoming schedule, because 3 games this coming week, and you're talking about Friday, Saturday, Sunday. A couple of games at home with Bloomington at home on Friday, Saturday against Indy, and then the return trip to Indy on Sunday. As you approach a week like this, as we mentioned before, as we looked at the standings, these are teams that are vying for the 3-4 slots, trying to get in the postseason. What's the key to starting off this week well? Because you want to have a nice performance on Friday to kind of set the tone for these 3 games this weekend.
Yeah, you're going to have another juggled lineup, because you picked up Logan Nelson, which is a great get, and then also Josh Atkinson. So it'll be interesting to see how they're worked in. I mean, with Jaden Grube getting traded by Edmonton, it left a void at the centerman position, so the Komets had to go out and get a frontline center, and they did it very good with Logan Nelson, and a guy who's performing everywhere he's been. And then Josh Atkinson, who is another great distributor. He's a great complement to Jalen Schmerich. You pick up 2 captains as well. That's unusual for 2 teams to trade their captain, but Josh Atkinson is a vet. He's going to be great back at the blue line, because you're dealing with some health issues with Dustin McFall and Matt Murphy. You don't know. They're question marks right now. So to go out and get a frontline defenseman also is very big. So I'm just really curious to see how the lineup is going to look this weekend. Because again, this team is also, they're comfortable in their spot. Still want to get the top seed, but you also want to be wary of just load management, if you will. You want guys healthy for the playoffs, and at this point in the season, everyone is playing with an injury or 2. So, and you got a lot of games now being condensed in the month of April. So, yeah. You want a good start. I mean, you want to win these games, but you also got to look at the big picture as well.
How difficult does that make it for Corey and for Jesse and Olivier with his staff, not only to try to manage new guys into the system, but to make sure that everybody's fresh when you go into a 3-game weekend like that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad I don't have their jobs, So, but I mean, they're great communicators. They talk with the guys, so they know who can go and who can't, and who needs a break, So, they're going to do what's best for this team, You're looking at right now, I didn't think, we had 91 points last year, and, going back when we were in that bit of a funk in January, and I'm like, oh man, we're not going to get to 90 this year. Now we have a chance to eclipse that.
You got 81 right now.
Exactly. So, I trust those guys, 1,000%.
If there's one guy down the stretch that you're really excited to see for this Komets team, whether it's a guy that's been on the roster all season long or a guy coming in, who would that one guy be that you're really excited down the stretch
Oh
to
man,
see?
you know what? I'm really interested, to see how, someone like a Nick Deaconpoot, kind of works into this. He's a guy who's been great on face-offs. He's a guy who's been kind of in and out in the lineup. He's left off the playoff roster last year. But he's a guy, again, he can play in multiple roles. So someone like that, I'm really looking forward to see how he goes down the stretch.
Bring some physicality and size to the front line. We love to see that. So final question before we wrap things up. If you're taking a look at the 10 of 12 at home this stretch, what are you most looking forward to seeing from the team overall over this final stretch?
Just for everyone to be playoff ready. I mean, they're going into every game, like I've been saying, every game is a playoff game now going forward. So you got to get in that mindset. You got to get into that tournament mindset, So, and if you have a chance to knock a team out of the playoffs, you want to do that because you don't want to play them down the road. So, and that's what we're going to see. Playing Bloomington here, it's a big 2 points for them. But you know what? That's a team that's kind of giving the Komets fits, and I don't want to see them in the first round of the playoffs. So, you know what? Let's take care of business in the regular season so we don't have to deal with them down the road.
Sounds like a plan. He is Shane Albahrani. I'm Glenn Marini, and that's it for this week's edition of Komets Corner.
You're watching Komets Corner.